Right? And I'm not playing. No.
All right. Well, let's get to it. Other folks will probably come in. I will bounce back and chat like I try to do. And we will start with Hunter Ninja Bear. Hunter Ninja Bear, which, by the way, you can get over at Fenom Comics. Here's your picture there. This was available. I pulled up the Kickstarter so you guys can see. This is what started it off. Now, you can go over to their website, and I will put that link out there for you guys to Fenom Comics. And you guys can get a... no, I do not have that link. Anyway, Fenom Comics, Fenom Comics. And you can get your copy for $30. So there's your Ninja. This is what the original promotion looked like. Fenom Comics talks about some brothers that put the company together, and they actually are literally in the middle of having, look at this, 1, 2, 3, 6 different books like this, and they all look like they're the same kind of thing. So this is not some little tiny book. This is a big deal. This is a lot. I'm going to get to that. So what they've done is they set it up as though there are 12 individual issues, even though it's only being produced as the one big graphic novel. So here you can see some of the individual covers. They're like chapters in the book. So chapter 1 through 12. These are the covers that are there if they were individual printed. And there was some talk of that. I think I heard an interview with Chuck one time, and he mentioned that they would be individual floppies maybe at some point or whatever. MEL RUBI did the art, and I am not familiar with Mel's work, but I was super blown away. I thought he did an amazing job in this book. So anyway, Hunter Ninja Bear. So Hunter Ninja Bear is just that, literally a story about, well, actually we start with the ninja first. So the rules are simple, right? Hunter beats bear, ninja beats hunter, bear beats ninja. Well, okay, so we start with the first part with the ninja, and the first chapters is about the ninja. So it's ninja clan that is assimilating into our world, and basically there's come some bickering about being a farmer and moving on. And you can see there's our main character. Super cool. And then we move into where we basically wander into like bear territory, which is sort of unheard of. And then, of course, the bear is not solitude. The bears attack. And that's how we start off. One, I'm not going to ruin everything for you guys. It gets very, very dark as the bears attack, and literally they don't hold back. The bears attack children, right? And Ruby does a great job. He does a really great job of creating this sort of battle that's going to take place between them and the bears. And let's say, the humans fight back. So there's no holding back what's going to happen. That creates conflict. And basically it's like a back and forth. And then we ultimately get introduced to sort of like this crazy, giant, mystical bear, firebrand. See the mark on the head is the key element to that. But beautiful artwork. The inking is great. I love so much of this. And let me go back to that first page, because this was one of the first things that hooked me. Was I thought of, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought of like old school, like Neil Adams stuff when I saw this kind of stuff. Like, I don't know what his inspirations were, but I was like, I don't know. This was all top-notch stuff. So anyway, the story moves along pretty rapidly, and you have bear versus ninja, basically. Bear versus ninja, a pack of bear attacking the village, wiping out humans. You can see pieces of the art. I'm trying not to showcase everything. It moves very, very rapidly. And then, of course, you get these incredible battle shots like this. This is not some cheesy, chimpy paper. This is not some cheapy, chintzy art or storytelling. So it progresses like that, and the village is pretty much wiped out. And he goes on a journey then to figure out how to get a hunter to help him, because the main bear, the firebrand bear, is still out there. And think of like the Old West mythology of, people that were even in other parts of the world would think, Wild Bill Hickok or something like that. So there's like this mythology of these hunters that can hunt bear. And they go and they find this guy, and he's here's how our hunter's introduced. It doesn't go well at first, but he does manage to survive the bear attack, and it is truly great stuff. I have to be honest. I thought of it almost like as a mini series. I love Wilkers, by the way. Wouldn't Wilkers be like Kurt Russell would be a great Wilkers or something like that? I don't know if that would be the right age group now, because Kurt is probably a little up there in years, but old school Kurt Russell, maybe Chris Pratt, maybe something like that if we had to go young. So you get into sort of like the recruitment and the mythology of Wilkers and stuff that's happened in America as the ninja and his sort of like apprentice, because he basically buries everyone. And of course, meanwhile, there's another survivor of her village, and he takes her under his wing, and she becomes the pupil. And they basically are going to take this journey together. Here's a shot of them together. You know what I think about? I was thinking about today when I was thinking about how much I like this, is I was a big fan of like Mike Grell, Green Arrow. And it was always very rooted in like real life. And he just lived in the forest, and he dealt with like street crime and things like that. It wasn't real, costume superhero type stuff. It was a nice sort of side route in comic book stuff. Like, it was different. And this reminded me of that. Like, it's obviously it's still a comic book, but it's grounded in like real people and a real adventure story. Like I said, could easily be adapted into something. And what I really think is great about what Chuck does well in this, that comic books don't do enough of anymore, and that is everything has purpose and action. So, for instance, instead of just sitting around a coffee shop where they talk about food for 2 or 3 pages, which I could not believe they do, but they actually do, they're walking and talking. They're in the forest, and there's conversations. They'll talk about their backstories. They'll talk about different things that have happened, and it is really, really good to see. Because I've been open about how much I love Chuck Dixon's work. It's meant so much to me in my comic book fandom. And to see something like this come to life, it was really, really good. And then again, it treats everything like it's an issue, like a graphic novel that's collected multiple issues would, even though this is what you get. So for the $30, this is kind of what you get. And I think they're shipping on that too, but it was a reasonable price. They go on their boat, and again, nothing is wasted. So all of the interactions that you see are communicating more of the story, more characters that exist in this world. It's not small, it's big, with a lot of personalities, capturing a lot of the history, catching a lot of the adventure, things like that. So basically, and then you get to the point where you end up with, they got to meet up with Wilkers. They got to recruit him, right? You see them practicing. Look at that. We don't do that now, right? Oh no, she would just be amazing. Nope. He puts her in her place and says, pain is the best teacher. Ooh, yes, so good. And there's little elements, like the first time they see fireworks and how they respond to that, how they deal with the city and people like that. And he comes from an entire village, so he has all of this wealth that he has with him to hire Wilkers and the others. Of course, they get attacked, and he's amazing with his samurai sword. Wilkers has never seen anything like that. And then you basically get them agreeing to go on this journey together, even training a little bit together before they head out onto this crazy journey. And nothing is, we go from like celebratory the night before in a bar, hot chicks, that kind of stuff, right? May not come back from this to, we're going to start our journey in the rain. So I don't know how much leeway Mel Tubi got, but it's such a great back and forth of all of these different things. It is also great to see, like, they have a guy on the boat who's seasick when they're basically going back to Japan to take on these bears. and there's all sorts of confrontation along the way, and there's like the backstory of everything. So there's just a lot of meat and a lot of story here. It is not simplistic, and there's also a lot of conflict between the two ladies, right? His little Indian friend and Hannah the apprentice and things like that. And then we sort of get there, and we have our first, the bear are actually in ice. They're hibernating or whatever, and they get easily taken. Well, that's not Firebrand, right? So you get your first, and look at the action. It's like old 90s storytelling. This is one of the Indians that's helping. Look at him jumping into action. They don't have to be superheroes to have sort of that sort of element of superhero adventure telling. We don't have to have them in an armored suit, right? They can just be these adventures, with a guy that was a ninja who doesn't want to, try not to be a ninja, and a guy who's a hunter who's struggling, and then taking on this, this bear that's larger than life. So that's kind of how it progresses. It progresses pretty well. They track down the bear, and you end up with like a multi-issue conflict. And like I said, the violence and the stuff doesn't hold back. I don't want to spoil that one frame. I mean, the stuff is really, really good. You can see Wilker's there. There's a little bit of twists and turns here and there. Just great shots, great action, tons of detail. The art is fantastic. Look, if you're okay, and I love, and he has to resort to. I'm sorry, spoiler alert. He has to resort to becoming the ninja to win. Like, he's trying to not be the family thing of moving away from that, because the world has changed, and he's like, no, he has to go back to that in order to get there. So, yeah, little twists and turns at the end about who survives, who doesn't surprise, and how. And of course, the stuff with the bear is just phenomenal. And it takes you to a place that you wouldn't expect. And there's a little bit of like an epilogue that kind of sets up the fact that we're going to have possibly more Ninja Bear. Quote, the rage of Firebrand. Spoiler alert. So there you go. Hunter Ninja Bear. He put the link to the Kickstarter. I don't think we can get it through Kickstarter now. So let me pull up the site real quick for you. Put that link in there for you. Kickstarter is over, but that's a great way to see the preview and get more information on what you would be getting. So I put the link in there for you. And hello, lovely Sherry. Thanks for hopping in. Hey, Gap, how are you? Lovely Sherry's here. Hey there. And Gap, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Yeah, so that's for like, it was about $30. It was about $30, and that's a lot of pages for $30. That's a lot. That's not, that's not some 2 or 3 issues, even 6 issues. That's like 12. So that's nice. So if you're into an easy, fun read, it's not superhero with a bunch of capes and armors. It's more like real life. It could easily be adapted into like something real and tangible. Chuck Dixon's a great writer, so the dialogue tends to be very real. It feels like people could actually speak these words. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I hate reading something and I'm like, no one talks like this. Actually, that's one of my biggest complaints with many of these shows is, can we hire a human that can teach people how to actually behave, like socially interact? Because a lot of the stuff that they put in these shows and movies are like, humans don't act that way. They don't behave that way. So I don't know, maybe. So Hunting Ninja Bear, Fenom Comics, I highly recommend for what you get, especially for what you get. If you're into like just superheroes and cape stuff, maybe not so much, but as far as a good read, fun read, easy read, it definitely fit the bill for me. I enjoyed it a lot.